I would say that most of the failures with the different paths, not only with non-duality and with the wisdom path, with all the paths, most of the failures of the seeker are due to a lack of understanding of how the path works. Fundamentally that. That's why I wanted to present this class. Because if we don't understand how our path works, regardless of the path that you're in, it's very difficult to make it work for you. Let's say, for example, Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. Do you know how Bhakti Yoga really works? I'm sure that at some point of another, all of you have experienced a little bit of Bhakti Yoga, you know. Love for the divine, singing to the divine, affirming, you know, I love thee, whatever. Anyone has never experienced that? No? Never? Never, Evelyn?
No, I did.
You did? Roy?
Sort of.
Sort of? Yes. And you?
Love for the guru. It wasn't quite a
Huh?
bhakti path, like I'm not singing to the guru.
Right.
Yeah, supplication.
Love for the guru, you've been there.
Singing to the divine and feeling love for everything, right? Well, if you look into Bhakti Yoga and you try to understand how it really works, you will see that actually it can be very effective if you get how it works. But it works through surrender. Surrender is Bhakti. A real Bhakti has surrendered his life to the divine, to God, right? A real Bhakti, or to the Guru, but hopefully is to the divine directly, right? Because the Guru, it depends how crooked he is, right? It could be a very ethical Guru, but it could be not.
Love, devotion, and surrender, they say.
Right, love, devotion, and surrender. But surrender is the key. Why? Because surrender puts you in a state of inner relaxation, where everything that happens is the will of God. And in that state of inner relaxation, you accept whatever comes. And whatever comes, you know, is God's will.
And also complete surrender is kind of a dissolution of the I, of the ego.
Yes, the surrender, in fact, Evelyn is right, dissolves the ego, right? Because now you don't depend on your own forces and reinforce your own thing, your own little me, but you begin to depend for everything on the divine,
Right.
yeah, on God. So if you understand this, if you understand that that is the core of Bhakti Yoga, then you begin to apply it correctly. You apply yourself directly to this point, you know, begin to hammer that. Surrender, 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 until you get there. And it will be fast and effective. But what happens with Bhakti Yoga usually is that there is so much paraphernalia around this one fundamental thing that you get lost in the paraphernalia. You get lost in the branches. You get lost in the nice singing and the nice songs and the guru and what the guru said, what the guru didn't say, and the meditation and the no. You get lost into a lot of things. But if you were to in Bhakti Yoga to go to the core of the path, because you understand that that is what it's about, then you would go for surrender, and that's it. You would make it. Yes.
In the bhakti path, a lot of the devotees get into a childish relationship to the guru, where they want the guru's attention, they want the guru's love. They're just,
Right.
you know, it's very,
Yes.
they get actually reduced into a younger, immature state.
Right.
Yeah.
So Roy is saying that many get lost in the Bhakti Yoga in a relationship with a teacher or a guru that is childish. And yeah, that's one of the many ways in which you get lost in that path.
Yeah, so this
That's why the surrender ideally should be towards God, right? In the Bhakti path, and in the Jnana path, in the wisdom path, surrender still is extremely important, but it's a surrender to the one, right? That now is understood as you too. The one is everything, right? So that you're not surrendering to an external force, but you're surrendering to your essence and the essence of everything, right? And the Bhakti Yoga has a problem, which is that it does not aim for awakening. And why it doesn't? The reason is because it always, it's a relationship between you and God. So it's like Ramakrishna put it in these terms. He said, I don't want to become sugar, I want to eat the sugar, savor the sugar. So I don't want to become God, I want to enjoy and taste God, right? However, at some point, he changed his mind, because one of his, apparently his guru, his teacher, which was an individual called Totopuri, came to the ashram where he was living, and Totopuri instructed him to kill the Divine Mother, because he had all this devotion towards the god Kali. He was sitting in meditation in front of Kali. Kali was coming alive, the image, and he was developing this relationship with Kali, right? So Totopuri instructed him to, at that moment, take a sword and kill his Divine Mother. And he did it.
First he asked the Divine Mother for permission.
For permission
to kill her.
to kill her.
Yeah, she
Right.
said yes.
Oh, well, that was good.
Then she said, yeah, oh yeah,
That
it's
makes
okay.
me feel better.
Yes, you may.
So he did it, which is a symbol that he was willing, to now recognize that there was no separation between him and the divine. So sooner or later we will need to recognize that. And because Bhakti Yoga emphasizes then this separation, the problem is that they don't aim for awakening. And if you don't aim for awakening, and you are just aiming for oneness with the divine at all cost, then it is very difficult to really, and very long to make it. So awakening is an immense help in the path. You wake up, and then the path after that is much easier, and it flows, and it's fast, and it's effective, because now you have observation of your little ego acting out. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And you're identified with this observation. You know that you are the observation, that you're not the ego. Mm-hmm. And that is what is missing in the Bhakti path. And then you're always trying to go for the spiritual experience, the oneness. The oneness experience will give me freedom. But then you get a oneness experience and you don't get free. You don't become free. You come back to the human condition, and in the human condition still you have a big ego that is holding to a lot of things, and there is no way to disarm that stuff. You need to disarm the ego. You need to reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. How you reduce it? First of all, you take the ego in the Advaita, you take the ego out of its throne. You dethrone the ego. The ego is in the throne before awakening. It believes to be in charge. It believes to be yourself. So you dethrone the ego with awakening. Adyashanti uses a nice metaphor for this. There is a clown that is in the lotus posture, meditating in front of a lake, and there is a reflection in the water, down in the water, but the reflection down below is the Buddha nature. So that is the state prior to awakening, the clown, the ego, is on top, and the Buddha nature, your true self, is below, at the feet of the clown. After awakening, this is reversed. Now your Buddha nature, the observation, is on top, and the clown is at your feet. So this is the way the Advaita path works. If you have clarity about it, you will move fast.
Another problem with the guru path is usually the guru is put on a pedestal where nobody's like the guru. He's special, he was born special, he's so unique you can never
Right.
get close to the guru.
Exactly.
So you're by definition pushing the goal, making it so far away it's unreachable.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the guru will actually play that role.
So let's summarize a few things, okay, before we finish. First of all, understand that the path, the Advaita path, is separated in two steps. The first one is this section of self-development that hopefully during that time you are asking for awakening. I want to wake up. Then awakening happens and you have the second phase. The second phase is called embodiment. You embody the fact that you are the divine or the one in every thought, feeling, and behavior. And that requires to chip off the remaining ego, to observe it and to use the techniques that we have discussed to chip it off. Reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. And there is very little left or nothing left. Ideally, nothing left. But that's an ideal, right? So this is the way it works. Last question, and we stop.
Then you can play if you want, playing being human being.
Yeah, okay, Evelyn is saying then you can play being a human being. Well,
Dangerous, but
dangerous, she's adding. Okay, I agree, it's dangerous. Yeah, you have to be very, very solid in your realization of what you are in order to begin to play again without danger, right? And this is an area that is, we could call it your relationship now with the clown, right? Your relationship with the false self. This relationship with your false self is, I agree with Evelyn that it needs to be from a center of compassion and love, because love and compassion dissolve the ego, while a harsh attitude towards the ego tends to make the ego even stronger, right? And keep it tense and uptight. So we need to have compassion for this little guy that is kind of dying, right? As we keep moving towards embodiment, we can be compassionate for that, the ego, and know that the ego still will have needs. Still will have needs, right? The mind-body organism has needs, right? And it's legitimate for the ego for the little self to give it a voice. The voice of voicing its needs to the one. So, in voicing your needs, voicing the needs of the ego, the little self, to the one, adequately may take some time during the embodiment process until you get it. And that would probably take another satsang to deal with that. But I just want to say that sort out what are the needs of the mind-body organism or the little self that are real needs, and what are, just wishes and whims of the ego. And then ask for the needs. Yeah. You need to do dental work, you say, there's a need here for dental work, of course, right? And then the resources will be there for the dental work. There is here the need for the last Cadillac SUV that may be, not a need, right? It's a whim. It's the ego wanting to be higher and bigger and faster. So you, after awakening, it's not rare that what the mind-body organism, what the little self gets is it gets what it needs and it doesn't get what it wants necessarily. Sometimes even that, but and you become very choosy, because the love for simplicity becomes very strong. You want to live a simple life. So you don't want to complicate your life with possessions and expenses and commitments, money commitments, and so on. You want to, after awakening, usually there is a desire for simplification. Because in a life that is simple, the ego gets reduced. And in a life that is complicated by possessions, havings, and then the ego grows, right? It strengthens itself. So discerning needs and wants and whims, is valuable. But that, as I said, that probably we could take a whole satsang again to discuss it.